Welcome everyone to episode 37 of the Brewhouse podcast between two brothers where we talk about gaming, tech, entertainment, and everything in between. This week we are going to be giving our full review of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. We're gonna do a short, very short, brief, non-spoiler review, but majority of this video will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I would go ahead and just wait until you see the movie if you're gonna watch or listen.
We'll let you know whenever we go into spoilers, and we'll give our overall opinions.
So,
I mean, I think we could both agree that you should go see it.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I mean, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I would still recommend going and see it, just because it does have a lot of action. It is very fast.
I would say, especially if you aren't a Star Wars fan, go see it. If you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, you might not enjoy it. I think you will if you look at things in the grand scheme of things, which we'll get into in the spoiler section. If you didn't like The Last Jedi, you will like this movie for the most part for what it is.
I think even if you like The Last Jedi, you'd probably still like this movie.
Yeah, one of my buddies loved The Last Jedi and loved this movie. So, he understands why people don't like The Last Jedi. He just kind of takes it for what it is. But yeah, it was a good movie overall. I think it was a good ending to this trilogy. I don't think it was a fitting ending to the Skywalker saga. I kind of look at the Skywalker saga as episodes 1 through 6, and this is kind of just its own thing. Which I think if you look at it in that scope of things as its own trilogy and not part of the much bigger picture, which I don't think is what they intended at first, but I found that looking at it as its own trilogy and not part of the Skywalker saga made me enjoy especially this movie more than if I was going and trying to hate it, because we both disliked The Last Jedi heavily. If you've watched any of this podcast or listen, you know how much we disliked that movie.
If you put The Last Jedi on mute, I would give it, on our ranking scale, I would give it an additional 2 points.
Yeah, because
just because how pretty
it looked. There was so much forced humor in that movie, which this movie did better. They allowed the humor to go to the right people, as in C-3PO was amazing.
People say that C-3PO was good. He is the bright point. I mean, people were like, "Oh yeah, it had like Marvel back and forth and everything like that." I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, the humor that it had was decent at best.
It was better than The Last Jedi. It was better than the Your Mama jokes in The Last
Jedi. But like, as you mentioned, C-3PO, he had more screen time in this movie than I think any other movie, except maybe A New Hope.
Yeah.
And maybe Return of the Jedi.
So, wrapping up the non-spoiler part, it was a good movie. It felt like a Star Wars movie, honestly. The lightsaber battles that they had were, I would say, better, because there was like none in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, they were good. For some reason, I think the lightsaber battles, it still doesn't compare to, say, like the prequels. I mean, episode 2 and 3, those lightsaber, I mean, one, of course, with Duel of Fates, those are so much better than anything we've seen in the last 3. So that's very surprising to me.
So that's going to be wrapping up our non-spoiler part. So, spoiler warning here, full disclosure, we're going to be getting into
spoiler bros. Let's go.
So I don't want people to take this the wrong way. We enjoyed the movie. We are going to try and nitpick it as much as we can. That's what we do. I notice things just from when we started doing this. When I watch things now, I look for stuff in the background, and I start nitpicking it now. And that doesn't affect my enjoyment of things. It's just the way I am now. So,
well, see, like, that's what I would do if I would watch it. Like, I watched it the first time, I just take it for face value. But then it's like, the second time that I would watch it, I'd be able to pick out other these little details. But due to the timing of this podcast, obviously I haven't seen it.
And some of the things that I'll talk about, especially in the later parts of the movie, were obvious to me. So let's get things out of the way first. I do not like how they introduced the Emperor. They introduced him in the title card. They introduced him in the Fortnite event. Did you know that?
The dead have spoken. What do you mean they introduced him? Like
the broadcast he sent out that they said in the title card that happened in Fortnite, in the Fortnite event.
I don't mind that. I mean, we knew he was coming back from the trailer. That they heard his laugh, so we knew he was going to be back in some form. If it was going to be a specter,
well, I'm not
or
saying
he was going to hear voices.
Well, I don't think he should have come back in the first place, but now that he was, I don't like how they introduced him in the title card.
I mean, if you don't like how they introduced him in the title card, but then it's also you see him within the first 5 minutes,
which
of the
we
movie.
can get into that. I think the first 5 minutes of the movie.
See, I don't like the slow mo Kylo Ren stuff. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Adam Driver, he's a good actor. Just I don't really care for him as Ben Solo.
I loved Kylo Ren in this movie.
See, I don't. And at the beginning, the choreography was just kind of off to me, because the way I think about it, that scene was probably 10 minutes, and they just cut it down and put little snippets. But like at some points, it's like, oh, I'm gonna stab this person, and then I have another guy. I'm gonna like turn the sword around, and like they have it slowed down so that happens like in 1 second, but it looks like it takes 10 seconds for it to happen, probably in like real time.
Another thing, it seems like a lot of stuff was cut from this movie. It definitely feels like they need to put another 30 minutes, because I know there was reshoots and everything, and J.J. Abrams came on late. But
with what they had going against them.
Oh yeah, let's get this out of the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
All the shots with Leia were reused scenes from the past.
And let's get something major out of the way right now. J.J. Abrams could not win with this movie. He was screwed no matter what he did.
He came in at the last minute, did the best he could, and that's the biggest fault against these last 3 movies is they're like, oh, we're gonna have 3 different directors, and it's like, no, it should have been that. You can maybe have maybe it should have been the same director, or at least they would have had a story laid out for the trilogy,
which they didn't,
and they could have directed it. No, absolutely not.
So you'll notice a lot of this movie was undoing what The Last Jedi did. Kylo Ren finds, like, for all intents and purposes, a holocron, but they don't call it a holocron.
They don't call it a holocron because non-Star Wars fans.
It's a wayfinder.
Like, oh, what's that mean? It's a wayfinder.
So Kylo Ren plugs in his USB-C thing into his GPS on his TIE fighter. Finds Sidious. I hate their explanation for Snoke. He was just a clone. Like, that's it. It should have been Palpatine had put his Force essence into him or something.
I do like how they introduced Palpatine right at the beginning.
Me too. I wasn't expecting that.
If they would have did it halfway through the movie, it would have been like, really? I mean, come on. It would have like stalled the movie down, and you had, but they introduced him at the beginning, but then it's like before he has a chance, boom, you're to the next story. But as far as Snoke goes, I mean, if they would have said it could have been, Snoke was a former Sith like a long time ago that was like very strong in the Force, so I cloned all these people from him, that would have made more sense rather than just I just made him.
And one thing,
because that's essentially what he did.
One thing I don't really get is why was Emperor Palpatine waiting for Kylo Ren to find him? Like, he has the Final Order, which is as strong as the Empire.
And so you have the Final Order, and it's like, why do you need the First Order, and where are all these people that you have?
So, like, and that's another thing. How, like, did Palpatine raise all 10,000 ships with the Force at the beginning? When all the ships rose out, they were manned?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
They're all manned.
Because he lifted his hands, and the ship started coming out of the ice.
But then again, whenever they showed the inside of the command ship, I guess, there's a full crew.
The inside at the end?
With that logic, I think that all of them are manned.
Well, they showed the inside of it at the end, though.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Because if he was using the Force to raise 10,000 ships, like, I get the Emperor was OP, but
I'm gonna say they're manned, because in this logic, he could have did that at the end of the movie, but not at the beginning.
So we finally, after 3 movies of Rey being overpowered for absolutely with absolutely no training. We finally get to see her do some training and her actually fail at something. She can't complete the training course, which was
Well, she got distracted.
Still, she failed at something, which she needed to do.
She should be able to.
Because I mean, we haven't seen anybody, and I guess we can get it out of the way now that she's Palpatine's granddaughter. That's no excuse for her being overpowered with no training. Luke was the son of arguably one of the strongest Force users, and
that was born by
Palpatine
by implanting midichlorians,
and he still needed training. I mean, he didn't use he used the Force at the end of A New Hope to guide the missiles, which, hey, why couldn't they just send a ship through it? But again, they retcon that too,
exactly.
Which I'm glad they do.
See, I still don't know about that.
They're like, oh, that was a 1 in a million chance what Holdo did. But yeah, like they showed Rey training, which we haven't seen her do in any of the other movies. She was just naturally good at the Force, and even in this movie, she still does some things that are questionable for somebody at her level. One of the things is Force healing, which I think they overused so much in this movie.
Well, I mean, they overused it because this is the first time that they're including it, because that was one thing that they took from the extended universe and brought into the original, like, mainstream movie series.
Did it first,
which which I mean, let's go to that. Where's Baby Yoda?
That's a good point. They're gonna have to tie it in somehow.
He should be there. He should be there, because I mean, at the end of the day, she's gonna die before him. Obviously, they're probably never gonna see each other, because the actors already said they're not gonna be in any other movies. So, but as far as like her training series, I understand why they went ahead and included, Leia. I mean, they don't outright say it, but they call Leia Master. So she's a Master Jedi in this movie.
Which they hint at towards the end, her training. She stopped doing it because she had a premonition of her son turning to the dark side. Yeah. But apparently she ended up finishing her training and getting up to that level of Master. And that's why they...
But then stopped.
So I didn't have a problem with that. I get that they were limited with what they could do with Leia's character. I think what they did the best they could, and it wasn't bad.
Sad thing is, she acted the best in this one.
Yeah, they used her character the best in this one. And I definitely feel like the scene with Harrison Ford and Kylo Ren was meant to be Leia.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, 100%. I think it was meant to be her, but they couldn't use that scene because either it would have cost too much money to CGI or being there. It probably looked too bad with the whole water in the background and everything like that. And Harrison Ford is sitting around and be like, yeah, sure, I'll go make $50,000 for filming 15 minutes.
I'd say more than that, but they probably had to pay him a lot of money to come back. But then again, he probably understood.
But he also, I mean, he's not a Force ghost.
No, he's a memory of Kylo Ren. It's not a Force ghost.
Yes. Ben's pretty much talking to himself through his dad. And yes, they did another fan service where he said, and he goes, I know, before he even says I love you. And it's just like,
so
this movie is a big fan service for Star Wars fans. Anything that you could have wanted to happen besides, Boba Fett showing up, Mace Windu coming back.
Mace Windu does come back. Technically.
He talks at the end of the movie along with like 5 other people that they are now canon. Well, yeah, but I'm saying like
notable. You
hear
their voice and you know who it is.
Every female Jedi that they have to throw in there, Twi'lek and stuff like that that was in the episode 1 or 2, or the Ahsoka was in there. Freddie Prinze Jr. was in there as what's his name from Rebels.
I thought that was a pretty cool moment. Well,
no, it was. I was trying to figure out which one was which. Did they get Hayden Christensen to do
he talked like 3 times, and we'll get to that later. Okay. If they would have done something else at that point on top of that, it would have bumped my score of this movie up a lot.
If they would have had Force Ghosts, you ruined all
right, I'll just say it now. I think at the very end, it should have been a Force Ghost of just Anakin. because he was the most important person in this whole trilogy. If when you look at the grand scheme of things,
I think they should have had Yoda, Luke, I guess Leia now too, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan.
they say I think they only needed one person, and it needed to be Anakin. Everybody talked, but at the very last line, very last line, it shows Rey's back, and there's a Force ghost of Anakin, and like Rey absorbs him and then kills the Emperor. I think that would have been amazing. That's just me. Yeah, Anakin's like my favorite character. So, anyway, getting onto it.
I don't know. I thought that was going to happen going forward. At the end.
One thing I noticed: this is the first time we get the three main characters together going on an adventure.
Well, yeah, Poe didn't meet Rey until the end of the last movie,
which this needed to happen in the second movie. It seemed like they tried to shove two movies into one, honestly, because they had to get rid of everything The Last Jedi did.
So we see right at the beginning with the why did they spend so much money rendering that ice planet whenever they were there for 5 seconds?
I'm telling you, stuff was cut. That was one of the places. Another thing that was cut, there was a lot of forced conflict between the three main characters. That I'm telling you, some stuff got cut from them because I mean, in the original trilogy there was conflict between the three characters. They didn't always agree, but you saw what led up to that. In this, there was kind of just forced conflict. Oh, why you're gonna tell Rey what you wanted to tell her, like when I'm not here, which they never did.
It was like half-assed forced conflict. It wasn't even like good. And you know, the back and forth, you know, like the witty humor that they're trying to go for, it didn't hit with me most of the time. I mean, there's one part in the movie where I kind of got emotional, and that's it.
Was it when?
And I'm pretty sure you know which one you talk about.
We'll talk about it in a little bit, but no.
But it's just like they hit on some good. They hit on some notes. Some of the humor was good. I mean, like you had Poe and Finn trying to play Chewbacca in the chess game, and it's like he's been playing it forever. He's 250 years old.
Yeah, that was kind
of course he knows how to win.
That was kind of
so. I mean, like that's another fan service thing. You know, Chewbacca finally gets to make some decisions, and
so
I don't understand the whole light speed.
No, that was dumb in my opinion.
It gives you a preview of what's to come with the movie, is what it does.
Yeah, there's because you planet skip in this movie. Let's transition to that. The plot of the movie. I didn't really
go get this to go get that to go get this.
It was a giant fan service / fan theory fetch quest. You go to one planet to get a clue, to go to another planet to get a clue, to go to another planet to get to the boss. I hated the story with the dagger. Like this was the Goonies.
See, that was probably the best part of it. I feel like, you know, because the dagger thing connected to
her parents dying,
who took Rey's parents, and her finding the ship and everything like that. I understand that more so than anything. I think Chewbacca probably should have died.
That's another thing this movie did very bad. Any major thing that happened, you didn't have enough time to soak it up because they undid it 2 scenes later. So when Rey blew up the ship with Force lightning, it was a pretty cool moment. And at that part, I knew she was Palpatine's daughter, because when you think of Force lightning, you think of Palpatine.
Yeah.
At that point, I knew. But then, literally 2 scenes later, you find out Chewie's alive. So it was like I'm glad. I guess I'm glad Chewie didn't die, but they shouldn't have undone it so soon. Is what I'm saying. You didn't have enough time to soak it in because they were trying to get so much stuff into this movie. Which is why I think it should have been 30 minutes longer.
If they would have did that, they should have did it 3/4 into the movie and left him dead. But you knew he was still alive because he hadn't been flying around with Lando yet from the trailers.
Yeah.
So
that was another thing. I don't think they should have shown all the ships flying up in the trailer. Because you get to the final battle and it's like, oh well, we haven't seen all the ships fly up yet, so I wonder if there's going to be an on your left moment from Avengers Endgame.
I mean, one thing we go in there, they didn't show, you know, like the firepower of the ships in the trailers, which is kind of a good thing.
We'll get into that battle. I didn't like the battle at the end with all the ships at all.
So
I wasn't a huge fan of the dagger because I mean, again, this is nitpicking. When they get to where they need it to go, the wreckage of the Death Star in the ocean.
That was great.
Okay, but the dagger exactly lines up where it needed to go on something that's been there 40 years in the ocean. You're saying it's going to fit perfectly?
Someone watched Uncharted.
I don't know. That again,
watch the super cut of
that's nitpicking.
Video games.
What did you think of the Knights of Ren?
Weak,
very weak.
Horrible.
It was a fan service moment.
So bad.
I mean, they were clearly working for Palpatine the whole time, because
just bad.
Yeah.
Why even have them? Oh wait, for Ben
again, they should have been in the second. They should have been a big force in the second movie.
They should have fought them instead of the Red Guards at the end,
and gotten a better choreographer.
Yeah.
And then I told my buddy Aaron this. It feels like Finn's character was wasted, especially in this movie. What was his job in this movie? He chased after Rey and yelled her name the entire movie.
Yeah. Now, I do think I mean, you probably feel the same way. I do think he's force sensitive. I think he is. I mean, so she handed him the lightsaber
because he's used it before. So out of everyone there,
but he's also like
he has the most experience to her.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, at some points he's like, "Oh, something's going on the Rey." He's like, "I just have a feeling." So it's like, no, he's probably force sensitive.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
But oh, I got to tell you something.
Never tells her.
We know what he wants to tell her. Doesn't. But then he meets. Oh wait, I meet
the female version of me.
Of me. Yeah. I meet the female version of me, and I don't need to tell Rey anything. And at the end, we don't get a kiss or anything like that. No, we just get a 3-way hug.
And
which would have been better if Chewbacca came up and
like picked all of them up. And the girl he meets is more than likely Lando's daughter or something. Because they have that awkward moment at the end. Because it was rumored that Lando had a daughter and lost her or something like that.
Oh, like was taken from her.
So we get the
awkward tell Leia I give her my love, and it's just like we know what you mean there.
You got the John Williams cameo as the bartender on Kijimi. I don't know if you picked that up when they walked in.
Yeah.
What'd you think of? I can't remember her name. The female character from Kijimi that knew Poe.
They're back and forth, like her back and forth with Poe.
What do you think of a Disney Plus series between them two? I would like that.
Like as he's a spice runner.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. You find out more Poe's backstory. She does a quick 180 though.
Yeah,
which, I mean, it needed like, I guess, a character moment for Poe to get some motivation, but she does a 180 real quick. I enjoyed her character though.
And then the little guy,
Babu Freak.
Babu Frick, he was okay. I mean, the other droid was pretty much pointless except for a plot point.
Well, the other droid was more important than BB-8 in this movie because BB-8 was OP as hell in Last Jedi. He was like straight up taking out
BB-8 had no point.
Everything.
BB-8 had no point in this movie.
He opened the door at the end for them to drop explosives down, and I think that's like the main thing he did.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they go there.
Hux being the mole didn't really make sense in my opinion.
I figured. I mean,
because in the comics, he's like the biggest First Order person. He's like malicious and evil. And
do you remember the other guy? Whenever they showed them sitting at the table, the other guy that ends up stepping up and killing Hux, he is from the other movies.
Yeah.
So I recognized him. So I was like, okay, this dude knows something. So thinking about it going in, they say, oh, they got a mole. And I'm like, it's got to be, somebody that we know. So it's like, oh, it's Hux. Because he hates Kylo Ren. He wants to be in control. So he's going to try to do everything, which that's what it ends up turning out to be. But I mean,
I really wish that older general, again, a lot of things in this movie should have started in the second movie and continued into this one. That older general, I wish he would have had a major role in the second movie to establish, a connection.
Like a Grand Moff Tarkin or something like that.
Of course, the landing gear on the Millennium Falcon is randomly broken. You never figure out why it was broken.
I mean, at this point with the Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
something's always broken. I'm just surprised.
Did you think they had destroyed it at the beginning? Like when they first landed back and it was on fire, did you think they had destroyed it and you wouldn't see it until like no, but then you wouldn't see it until like the very end of the movie? Okay.
No, not at all.
I was worried. I was like, are they really gonna like not have the Millennium Falcon in the majority of this movie?
No, like if at any point in any of the movies they were going to get rid of the Millennium Falcon, it would be blown up by like a Death Star blast or something like that. Like it would go out, you know, probably in bigger fashion than anything else.
All right, so I want to talk about some of the characters now. I think all the scenes with Rey and Kylo Ren in this movie were good.
Yeah, I don't like how they're supposed to be like, you know, halves of.
Yeah, that just seems like a dumb excuse for them to be OP. I think I do love how Kylo was stronger than Rey in this movie. The way it should have been.
I think Rey is stronger. Like, say you have like, you know, confidence in yourself. Kylo has confidence in himself. Rey has doubt, so she's obviously not going to use her abilities to the full potential. So that's why she's limiting herself. So yeah, Kylo is going to be stronger, but she's down.
But she's been strong. She's been stronger than him in the other two movies.
Yeah.
And Force Awakens, the second she gets a lightsaber.
Yeah, Force Awakens, yeah, she has.
And then in the last one too, I mean, in The Last Jedi. They don't really fight
at the end,
head.
They kind of, at the end they don't really fight. They just kind of separate.
So, and I'm not trying to be all, you know, I'm not anti-feminist or anti-woman or anything like that. I'm just saying Kylo has had training. He's had more experience with the Force.
This is the first time she's had training. Well, I mean, second time she's had training if you count the training she had with Luke.
Yeah, the quote-unquote training. Which they undid Luke's entire character from The Last Jedi, pretty much. He was like, yeah, I was dumb. That was a mistake, me going into hiding. I actually had a lightsaber here the whole time, even though I said I didn't. I had Leia's lightsaber. It was dumb of me to throw the lightsaber you gave me because it should be treated with respect. Just slapping Rian Johnson all in the face, and I loved it.
Okay, clear this up. The lightsaber that blew up at the end of the last movie.
The end of The Last Jedi?
Whose was that? Yes.
A lightsaber blew up?
Yeah, whenever Rey and Kylo are trying to pull the lightsaber towards each other, the lightsaber blew up.
I don't even remember that. I try and block out
Anakin's?
all of Last Jedi.
Isn't that Anakin's?
Apparently not, because it's back.
I'm pretty sure that's what. So that's the one she was using in the fight with Snoke, the one that kills Snoke.
No,
and that's the one that they're like trying to
kill Snoke. We'll get into. Oh, it kills Snoke. Yeah, okay. I was thinking of Palpatine. Yeah.
Not Palpatine, but like at the end, Kylo Ren and Rey are trying to like force pull the lightsaber towards each other. And it ends up cracking and blowing up, but that's the one that they have in this movie?
Yep.
Okay.
Apparently, dude. Blah, 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 blah. Also, they said, I remember them saying they weren't going to CGI Leia, which I guess technically...
No,
I remember them saying that, but then they have the scene, which I don't even think this was CGI. I think they just straight up pulled her face from the prequel movies and transposed it onto a CGI character when her and Luke were training.
Oh no, that I think they weren't going to CGI
like an actual body.
Like so Tarkin from the Force Awakens, or Tarkin from Rogue One,
Leia from Rogue One,
or Leia from Rogue One. Yeah, so I guess they probably had someone, you know, do the moves or something like mocapped, and then they CGI de-aged her face from another scene. But I want to say all the other scenes, like of her in that's why you only see her on one planet.
And majority of her scenes are from the back.
Yes, because at some point you hear her voice that they take words from, and you know, give it soundboard her voice, but she's actually talking to someone else in the other movies.
And we get they were limited with what they could do. And overall, I think they did a fine job.
But, they did a good job with it. She dies.
Yeah,
obviously.
Which, I mean, she kind of causes Kylo to lose the fight and almost kill him, which is what I'm saying. They overused force healing in this movie. One too many times. I don't think Rey should have force healed the snake in the cave where they find the dagger.
I think I think that
She should have used like beast calming or something.
I think she did that to introduce it, but she said, "Oh, I just gave a little bit of force spirit," is what they called it.
Yeah, or force or
life force or whatever.
Force energy, force spirit, something like that.
Force energy for myself to him to heal him. So I think that was just, kind of like a little introduction.
But then you knew
like
it was going to happen
2 more times.
So you knew like that was something brand new we had never seen. You knew it was going to be used again in the movie. I think it would have been a lot more impactful if she had not done it then and had used it to heal
and just used it first time on Ben.
This is just my opinion. I don't know. It might have still been dumb. Who knows? I don't think she should have used it.
I wish she would have used the lightning more than once.
Yeah, that was badass, dude. That was really badass. Like I said, they shouldn't have shown all the ships in the trailer. But getting to that plot point, they had said in the movie that they had sent out distress signals before and nobody came out. So you're telling me all it took was Lando to go get a freaking army of people in like 30 minutes screen like movie time to bring a literal army of ships. All it took was Lando. So you just needed to go find Lando Calrissian and you win the war.
Yeah, and we didn't mention that Lando and Luke were searching for, I can't remember his name, the guy that stole Rey's parents.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting plot point.
Was searching for him. I liked that. Before he went into hiding, they were searching for him, or I guess might have been even before that. But
yeah, I liked that.
No, I want to talk about the moon at Endor again. No, I think that set piece of the second Death Star, like in the water and everything, I think that was great. Now, obviously,
I do, but then it's like, okay, the throne room is still like in perfect shape.
Oh yeah, no, that's all, just too much. But I'm saying, just the aesthetic
it looked great
of seeing it crash. Yeah, it looked awesome, and them fighting with the water and everything like that. But okay, she's gonna go into the throne room, and it's like, okay, that's a throwback. Obviously, she's gonna look at the throne. And there's a door right here, and that's where the Wayfinder is.
Somehow still powered.
Battles her. Yeah, it's still powered somehow.
I thought that was a cool scene with her 5-second lightsaber battle with her dark self. She mentions earlier she saw herself sitting on the Sith throne. We never see that. We see her dark side self at the end, or towards the end, I guess you could say, and they fight. That scene I think should have been longer because it was cool. But we never saw the scene of her.
Lightsaber was dumb.
Yeah, the kind of, I don't know. It was pointless for it to be able to flip up and down. It should have just been.
Oh, you can catch a lightsaber.
Yeah, it should have just straight up been a double-sided lightsaber.
Yeah, which I thought at the end her new one was going to be a double-sided.
Well, yeah, it almost looked like the hilts and everything.
It looked like
it was from the staff. Which we'll get into that later too. But so I think that scene could have been a little longer, and we should have seen the vision she had. They could have done it like on the Falcon while she was sleeping or something. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. I thought their fight was really good. Kylo and Rey's fight.
I think theirs is probably the best choreography
because they had throwbacks to the water, kind of reminded you of the lava from Mustafar and everything. Blah 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 blah. All it took was Lando to convince them. What do you think of the Force Link stuff and the Force Skype and them being able to teleport things across the galaxy? I am not a fan.
Horrible. I mean, as far as like her going into Ben's chambers and seeing Darth Vader's like crumpled up helmet, that was awesome.
It's okay to like project or see things, but when you get to like teleportation and
I mean, so like the helmet ends up dropping on the planet, so that helmet's gone. She ends up cutting like some berries or something. They end up on her necklace, floor. But then at the end is
almost too much.
Really. Like, I mean, it's just stupid.
What they should have done with the Knights of Ren is have them fight the Knights of Ren together in the throne room in front of the Emperor. I think that would have been a better use, even though they still would have been underused.
Right.
So yeah, I enjoyed their fight. Okay, let's get into, I guess, kind of the climax of the film, starting with the space fight, the quote unquote space fight towards the end.
Oh, you wanted to talk about some of the characters?
Well, yeah, we had talked about Kylo and Rey.
Why have all these additional random characters?
Yeah, you have characters that you haven't even developed yet. Like
that you don't develop.
Okay, I wasn't a fan of Rose's character in The Last Jedi, and she got sidelined hard in this movie.
No, she needed to be. She didn't. I mean, that whole casino planet did not need to be in the last movie.
It was terrible. But yeah, you introduce like all these characters that pretty much need their own backstories and like time to flesh out the characters, and you don't get it because there's not enough time.
About like 3 sentences of dialogue.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there was a female stormtrooper and her whole squadron like refused to do it, and you literally just copied Finn's story.
She was the best out of all the new characters they added in. Like, what's his name from Lost that they added in?
Dominic Monaghan or something.
Yeah, Dominic Monaghan or something like that. Because JJ Abrams likes him, so I'm gonna give.
He played the dude that played Mary in the Lord of the Rings series, or Charlie from Lost. Yeah, they just
or the dude from X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah, the carnival guy. I forgot about him.
Yeah, the guy that can control electricity.
So they introduced new characters, and you can do that for like minor ones. Like all the ones they introduced from the Resistance, I think were fine, but the characters they met needed to be fleshed out more. Like we enjoyed the character that they met on Kijimi, the one that had a relationship with Poe, but we don't see her. Like
Babadook or whatever his name is.
No, the woman.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like
Babu
Freak or whatever, the little dude.
I'm gonna say Babu Frick, but because I'm country as hell. But yeah, the characters needed more time, more backstory and more introduction. Which, again, I think this movie should have been at least 30 minutes longer for them to do everything they were trying to do. I think it should have been.
It's okay. They're covering their butts for any other movie going forward
because they don't have. They're not setting in on trilogies anymore, so they're gonna.
No, if one sells really good, we'll go back and do another.
This movie is not selling well, surprisingly.
Oh, it's horrible in China right now. You heard that? You saw that? Doing bad.
So, I did not like the battle at the end at all, especially with the horses. It's like, all right, so you're telling me they bring the horses out to go because Finn had a feeling, which again, he's force sensitive.
He's had feelings
that this is what they needed to do, and they're taking the horses out so they can't jam the speeders, which we've never seen jamming.
Speeders? I know that's what's like, oh my god, jam the speeders.
I was like that.
They're gonna be on.
That's never happened.
What are you talking about?
I was the entire time that scene was happening. I was like, just tilt the Star Destroyer so the people fall off. Just tilt it. Then you win.
It was just bad. As far as like the fighting goes, I liked
they got Poe back in an X-wing because they were hyping him up to be a pilot, and he was.
So let's talk about Rey ends up getting the Wayfinder from. She takes Kylo's ship after.
I forgot about
kills him, and she goes back to
Luke's place, I think, or where the temple was.
Yeah, Octu,
and where Luke was, and
where the temple was, ends up burning it. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stay here like you." And then she goes to throw the lightsaber. Luke catches it. Yada yada yada. Then she gets Leia's, and then I do like that Luke raised his ship, his X-wing, and brought that back. Red 5 and brought that one back. That was fan service that I liked. Now, would that ship work anymore? Absolutely not.
Didn't they show it in The Last Jedi, like not working or something? I don't remember.
I don't think it was underwater, and he ended up like knocking it into the water or something like that. But like that was fan service that I like. It's like that's Red 5. That's like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
and of course Finn's like, oh, that's Rey, and it's like we get it.
Yeah.
Force sensitive.
Did you notice how for Force Ghost Luke they didn't show his right hand? They only showed his left hand. I thought that was because I mean, would he have a mechanical hand in Force Ghost? Would he not have a hand at all?
Nope.
So I'm glad they noticed that detail. Again, these are things I'm starting to see now, even on my first time, because they just jump out. So they pretty much try and fix what The Last Jedi did to Luke's character. Him saying he was wrong to go into into exile, which you weren't necessarily wrong, but because even Yoda went into exile. After Revenge of the Sith,
I think he should have gone bad.
Yeah, you see, I agree with you. If you're gonna make Luke, if you're gonna try and do something with Luke, you need to make him go bad.
Make him go full bad. Leia ends up, convincing him, and him and Leia end up dying.
Yeah.
Something better.
So Rey. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about that pissed me off. When Rey slices Kylo's ship on the desert planet, and the ship straight up like blows up, and Kylo walks out like no problem, it was nothing. But in Revenge of the Sith, you see like Master Plo Koon get shot down in a ship. Oh, and he's just dead. One of the strongest Jedi ever. But he gets shot down and he's dead.
It's like 50
but you
later.
literally see Kylo's like literally just the pod go like
just explode,
flying and explode,
roll like BB-8 and just blows
and he
up.
just walks out fine, not limping, no cuts, nothing. He just walks out fine. I was like, dude, come on now. Like they should have, I don't know. That's one thing that just annoyed me. So she's like broadcasting a signal to the Resistance, telling them how to get to Exegol. So let's get into, I guess, the ending of it.
I do like that they had Leia's ship.
Yeah, that was cool. So the Emperor is OP, rightly so. One thing,
major cataracts.
Yeah, one thing I don't understand. So he like, were all the Sith people there? Like at the very end in the arena, were those actual people?
I think he was conjuring.
Was he? Yeah, okay, I figured that.
I think he was conjuring them to, get Rey to turn.
So, like I said, the whole thing with the, turning the Star Destroyer.
But then again, it could be because if all those 10,000 Star Destroyers or whatever they were,
the Sith troopers, they're stormtroopers in red. They were just as useless. Mm-hmm. The whole thing that they had to do on the ground. They couldn't do it in the air. They could have done it.
Why couldn't you shoot it?
You literally could have done it in the air. I don't like how they made every Star Destroyer a freaking Death Star.
Why can't you kamikaze a little tower on ship?
It makes no sense. And they literally made every Star Destroyer a Death Star. I did not like that. Stop trying to make Death Stars.
I do like that they tossed Chewie a Stormtrooper blaster and he's just one-shotting like
that was another thing. They were
like
they were flying through people on that ship, and then they were like, "Oh, they're looking too strong."
Poe and Finn would always hit him like on the second shot, but Chewie's just like boom,
and then they're like,
boom,
"Oh,
like one
they're
shot."
Looking too strong. Let's have Poe get hit in like the arm, because they were.
See, I think that was honestly, I think that was okay.
Them just flying through in God mode on the ship.
Well, I mean, stormtroopers are not as bad as the Star Trek. What is it? The Red Class guys?
Oh God, yeah.
That die just like
that's why they wear red shirts.
You look at and they die. But I mean, they fought them like 2, 3, 4 at a time. I mean, Chewie would always one shot one, and then Poe and Finn would shoot once and maybe get lucky and get shot on the first time.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind too bad. I knew someone was going to get shot at the end. But how could Poe fly? So Poe's flying a ship at the end with a hurt arm, but at the end he's got his arm in a sling.
Yeah, so a few consistency things. So you get to the end, and Emperor Palpatine, Force sucks the life out of Ben at this point, Ben and Rey. And apparently
Ben comes back. Rey teleports her lightsaber. Luke's lightsaber that blew up in the last movie to Ben, and he pulls that out of his back like this and kills the Knights of Ren easily.
No problem. Even though they were supposed to be like some badass force.
I mean, at that point, you could have just force pushed them all into the cavern and been
so apparently, Emperor Palpatine, using the Force, whatever, to suck the Force energy out, also changes his clothes and adds a nice red kind of accent on his clothes. I thought he gets his eyes back, which I mean is part of it. Now, here's a quick aside. Is the wrinkly, scarred face and body of Emperor Palpatine his actual body? Or was it the one before Mace Windu reflected the lightning back at him? Is that his actual face, or is the post-lightning his actual face?
The post is actual face.
Agree.
So he's using the Force to cover the dark side turns people. So he uses the Force to cover him, give him more, appealing appearance.
Right, I'm just quick trivia for you.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because people think, when Mace Windu forced the lightning back on him, that's when it happened. But no, that's just whenever he lost control, and at that point he was just.
So one thing I noticed, Emperor Palpatine shoots lightning and is like hitting 10,000 ships with this lightning. None of them blew up. But when Rey did the lightning on the ship, it blew up instantly. They all just power down and they're falling. First of all, some of them would have crashed into something because they were falling for like 30 seconds. But you're going to tell me like none of them blew up, but Rey can blow up a ship with her lightning? Doesn't...
Because it's going after one ship and it's not going after 100 ships. I mean,
this is what I'm saying. The Emperor is like, when I say OP, because let's say
he has all the Siths.
Let's say even if he didn't raise all the ships at the beginning with the Force, you're saying he can shoot the lightning up and only target the Resistance ships?
Yeah, because he wasn't hitting.
He wasn't hitting all the TIE fighters that were flying around. Which even then, if each of those ships is carrying like, let's say 72 TIE fighters or whatever.
They were manned. He did not lift all the ships at the beginning because they had enough TIE fighters coming out of every single ship. So, and realistically, there should have been a whole lot more. There should have.
It was 10,000 to 1. Like they got 10,000 times more forces from what the First Order had, and the Resistance couldn't beat the First Order. So, again, like we're very nitpicking, and it seems like we're saying a lot of.
Go see the movie. It seems
like we're saying a lot of negative things, but this is just, we're just
breaking it down. We're not nitpicking.
So getting to the end, this was one of my biggest issues with the movie, how Emperor Palpatine died. Just literally his Force lightning getting reflected back at him.
I didn't mind that.
It was very anticlimactic for me. Again, if they would have done the thing with Anakin,
because if she would have killed him,
but she did kill him.
His lightning killed him. She just reflected it.
She was still the cause of his death.
Yeah, I know, but she didn't strike him down.
So you're saying if she would have killed him with a lightsaber, it would have been different than her reflecting Force lightning back.
Yes. You're
using the logic of this
2010 Star Wars logic.
Okay. So
I'm using Rian Johnson's Star Wars logic.
Right? Yeah. So after that, there should have been a Force Ghost of Anakin. I'm sorry.
There should have been.
If not there,
but then Disney would have had to pay Hayden Christensen to come reprise his role, which everybody hates him.
Fuck. They should have. If they didn't do that, when they got back to the planet at the end, Rey should have gotten out and like gone into an area, and all the people that had talked at the end should have been there in Force Ghosts.
That, or let me tell you this: what if Ben would have died first and became a Force Ghost, and then he would have joined up with her?
I think that would have been better.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like better. It's so not having Anakin there, but seeing Ben as a Force Ghost and like seeing that he's a Jedi. Yeah. Well, you wanted to see Anakin. But if Ben would have been a Force Ghost, joined up with her, and then she would have been overpowered.
Yeah.
And, killed him.
Because
then we wouldn't have had that extra Force healing at the end.
And then people wouldn't have said, because I don't think. Remember, I told you before. Some people were saying it undermines Anakin's story. I don't think it does, because you hear Anakin talk at the end. It's like, bring balance to the Force, like I did. Because if he did bring balance, at either way you look at it, he killed Emperor Palpatine, and with Order 66, as messy as it was, balance to the Force, there was a whole lot more Jedi than there were Sith, and he brought it down to 2 and 2. Palpatine and Darth Vader, Yoda and Obi-Wan. So look at it either way.
I did not like the comparison to the throne room on this one for Return of the Jedi.
It was dark.
I like the throne. I like the throne in the setup and everything like that, but you didn't need to open a hatch and be like, haha, look, I'm killing
one thing I noticed again with like all the Sith troopers that randomly appeared that were shooting at Rey, like in the arena or whatever, there was straight up one just shooting at the air, like in the air. And like
and she killed a bunch of them like 2 or 3 times.
Like there was one legit just standing, shooting up in the air for like multiple scenes. So again,
I mean, he's a stormtrooper.
No, he's a Sith trooper. Yeah, he's a Sith trooper. So you get the fan service of Ben and Rey, you know, even though they're technically related.
So, because I mean,
because if you looking at it plainly, Palpatine is Anakin's father.
Yes, Palpatine created Anakin, so
follow down the bloodline.
He is
Ben Solo.
Dad, yeah, so.
Yeah. What but looking at it, if you want to get technical, maybe not. But
that kiss was just like not needed.
No, it was forced.
I don't get it.
I don't have a huge problem with it. I have a problem with something that happens later.
What, Chewbacca getting Han's medal?
No, I don't have
from
a problem
Leia?
with that. You kind of did, but
that was dumb. That was dumb.
That's small stuff. That's small fan service stuff.
No, that's not small stuff. Chewbacca should have gotten in the first movie.
He should have, but they were making up for past mistakes.
Oh, we feel bad because we neglected you. Now it's the last movie you're going to be in. We're actually giving you your own voice and say, hey, shoot this banister down so we can blow up all the TIE fighters behind us. Oh, that's a great idea, Chewie. We'll listen to you. You've only been flying for 250 years.
Yeah, you only have more experience than almost anybody here. Like, why would we listen to what you're going to have to say?
You should be piloting, not co-pilot.
So once they kill the Emperor, all the freaking Star Destroyers around the galaxy, which there was random Star Destroyers around the galaxy, but they couldn't take off from Exegol yet, but they were already around the galaxy somehow. Those might have just been First Order ones.
Was that people just... I think that was people uprising against the First Order. That wasn't up.
They just they randomly blew up. You said you thought you saw the light speed cut.
I'm telling you, whenever you go back, look at the one over Endor with the Ewoks, which is the one from the Ewok that is the one from Return of the Jedi with his son. And I want to say it's actually the guy that played, I can't remember the Ewok's name. But it's the guy that played the Ewok, and it's actually his teenage son playing his son in the movie.
So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was there.
I'm pretty sure that there's one that one has light
cut through it or whatever.
It has the same effect where it's got the white going through the middle, and it's got like the white shoots going out the sides.
So yeah, they all get back. They have their embrace, which was where Chewie should have came up and just like picked all of them up.
Chewie finding out later.
That was emotional.
That's what I want. That was good.
So Rey takes the lightsabers back to Tatooine, buries them.
Why?
I don't really get it. You know, I guess she's
so we can have a two-sun shot and John Williams.
Yeah, she's embracing the gray Jedi, which is I guess she's embracing it. She has a yellow lightsaber.
Yeah, she brought balance to she brought the balance of force. Yeah, but the hilt is also black.
It looked like it was like the material from her staff. I don't know if they just made it look like that or if it actually was.
I saw someone it could have came from like maybe like the material of like Kylo's helmet or something. I forget exactly what
that was another thing. That was another
something
thing
like that.
They brought back Kylo's helmet because people liked the way it looked. And Rian Johnson was like, "Oh, you like this? I'm going to destroy it." In The Last Jedi.
Yeah, but they brought it back because it was good. I forget who I watched a video on that. So like Darth Vader's helmet was inspired by like samurai. So obviously Kylo Ren's was inspired by Darth Vader, so also inspired by samurais. But then the technique that they did with like the red plating, cool. Samurais did that with gold.
It was like to add patterns
like,
and
in
stuff.
Armor, it was like it would like all the fractures they would like go and back and replate it and fix it with like gold. So instead of the red, it would be gold. So I mean, it's just a good comparison.
Okay,
I like that.
So, what did you think of Rey taking the Skywalker name?
I mean, it's the Rise of the Skywalker. Who is going to be the other Skywalker?
I do not like it.
I don't like it either. But that at the end of the movie, I was like, okay, Ben's dead.
It should have been called Rise of Skywalker.
He is a Skywalker, but he's also Ben Solo. He's not Ben Skywalker. So Rise of Skywalker, the whole time she's like, they say don't. I think it was what part? She's like, just Rey. when she's talking to the people
at
on
the festival thing
celebrate,
or whatever.
which was 42 years, and it's 42 years since the original release of A New Hope.
Fan service. I did not like it at all. Just because somebody raised you or trained you does not mean you don't see Obi-Wan calling himself a Jinn. You don't see Anakin calling himself a Kenobi. You know, all these people that were raised and trained by people.
But they saw their parents though, so I can give a little bit of edge to that because Rey doesn't really remember her parents. So Anakin knew his mother for a long time.
You don't know that Obi-Wan.
You're assuming Obi-Wan.
Yeah, you don't know that Obi-Wan knew his parents.
You assume that he did for a while. But I think that's little because at the end of the day, what does it matter? Nothing really.
I just didn't like it. I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. It doesn't lower my rating of the movie. Honestly,
no.
The only thing that would have changed my rating, like honestly, like a lot of other things could have happened, and I still think it was as good as it was. Like
I don't think they could have did anything really in this movie to bump up.
Anakin Force Ghost showing up would have bumped it up for me. Not much, but it would have. If they had done it the right way. Again, him showing up, being the last person to talk out of all the voices. And then
for me, J.J. Abrams would have had to direct and been involved from start to finish for this to even get moved up to where.
So we covered a lot of stuff. We didn't go in order. This is going to be about an hour-long episode, which is pretty good. I think our Avengers Endgame one was like an hour and a half, and we went through like in order everything. I was brain dead and couldn't talk after that one. There was a lot of I don't want to say there was a lot of similarities between this.
Wait, going back to Endgame, do you still agree with me that thinking Infinity War is a more rewatchable game?
Yes, I agree with you. Infinity War, especially for non-Marvel fans, is a more enjoyable movie.
It's good.
It's an action movie. It has a full plot summary. You could not have seen any of the other movies. It would be a lot of characters to, look at. You could not have seen any of the other Marvel movies and understand what was going on in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Which is what I was saying. This game has a lot of fans, or this game, because it felt like I was playing a game with how the movie was structured.
It was a game.
This movie had a lot of fan service. Endgame had a lot of fan service. I have all the Sith in me. I have all the Jedi in me. Reminded me of I Am Inevitable and I Am Iron Man, because that happened at the end. There was an on your left moment where all the ships showed up at the end when it was like, oh, we're about to lose, blah, 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 blah. And then Lando shows up on your left with all the ships, and those are the portals opening with all the people coming out. So there's some similarities. And
how did all those ships take that tiny little passage to Exegol?
Yeah. And how were the TIE fighters... this is also nitpicking. How are the TIE fighters in split second like that following people through hyperspace, through multiple different planets, through things that apparently, if you're going light speed, you should go through whatever's in front of you, right?
Yeah, I do like that
a monster, but it doesn't cut the monster.
I do like that they changed that they can track you where you're going, so you just can't, light speed out and you're safe. So I like that part, but I don't know. That's just...
Like we said, J.J. Abrams was screwed with this movie. He
came in so late trying to save it.
He's still not faultless. He still messed up some things. We both agree the Emperor was probably a last minute effort. And he shouldn't have been in the movie, but a lot of the things that they tried to set up very quickly in this movie should have been established in The Last Jedi.
That or Palpatine should have been like a Sith ghost.
Yeah. Or
and Snoke should have been the bad guy.
Snoke should have been Palpatine's force essence or whatever in Snoke. And he still could have died last movie, and then they could have established the main conflict to be between Kylo and Rey in this one and something else. But I don't mean to talk bad about The Last Jedi still, but I've never seen a Star Wars movie 2 years after it come out still be debated so heavily.
People don't want to talk about that movie just because it's like just you get in an argument just trying to talk about that movie.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm not one to, if you enjoyed something, good for you. Good, I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell you.
I'm
can't
not
like
gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna bash on you. Like, this is our opinion. I mean, we're giving you how we feel about the movie. But if you go into this movie and you're like, "Oh, I loved it. I love Last Jedi," that's cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
But even if you enjoyed The Last Jedi, you can see how it messed up the Star Wars universe and the implications that it had. You can see it in this movie because they try so hard to undo literally almost everything The Last Jedi did.
What if Rian Johnson would have directed this one too and would have kept going in that direction?
I don't know. Which is my whole thing. Rian Johnson is not a bad director.
No, he tried to make the characters something different, and people weren't used to it. They didn't like it. I think if they were going to go that path, it should have been done in The Force Awakens and not in The Last Jedi.
But again, they didn't have a plan going through.
No, they didn't have a storyline for any of these until they were.
Which, granted, George Lucas probably didn't at the beginning of A New Hope.
George Lucas did.
I don't think George Lucas knew that Darth Vader was going to be Luke's father. When A New Hope, I don't believe that, because I've seen multiple videos saying that he didn't know that.
I think
he knew the story for Empire and Return of the Jedi before Empire came out, but he didn't know the full story for the three of them.
Yeah, but he knew the start and he knew the end. He didn't know the middle. Yes. So, but that's still better than what we got now.
So overall, like we said, wrapping this up because we're over an hour now,
and we still need our rankings.
We're gonna give our rating of the movie, and then our overall rankings of the your webcam froze. I don't know why, but
yeah, your voice was.
Discord's crapping. Okay, you're back. So we're gonna give our rating of the movie, and then our new rankings. Didn't change much for either one of us. So if we missed out some stuff, there was a lot that happened in this movie because they crammed in as much as they could. But I give it, just to refresh you on our ranking system, 5 out of 10 for us is a good movie. We would see it again. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
One of our internets is crapping out.
I think it might be yours.
I don't think it's mine. Who's been having internet problems recently?
I just checked it. Give you a call real. I'm gonna call you right back and we got this problem.
So I'll go ahead and give mine. My rating of the movie is a 6.5 out of 10. Means I thought it was a good movie overall. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. And giving my overall rankings of the movies, starting from favorite to least favorite, I'm gonna have at 1 Empire, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, Phantom Menace, Solo, The Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
I absolutely hated Attack of the Clones. And I hate you.
Well, it's because it was shot in front of a blue screen.
I hated Attack of the Clones if I put it below Last Jedi. Because Last Jedi, all the crap I give it, looked amazing.
Sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Yeah. Like, you hate sand, Hayden Christensen. I hated your performance in that movie.
I think that's so bad because like Natalie Portman's acting in the original trilogy is so bad, but it's just also who she has to act against in the script is so horrible. And that's I didn't in Rise of Skywalker, Rey's script was bad.
And I think Daisy Ridley did
she did a good job with what she was
again
given.
Like Hayden Christensen in Revenge of the Sith. He did the best with what he had, I think.
Yeah. So I give this movie probably a 5 out of 10. So yeah, it's good. It's okay. My rankings would be 1 is Empire, 2 Return of the Jedi, 3 A New Hope, 4 Rogue One, 5 would be Force Awakens, 6 would be Phantom Menace. Which ones am I missing? Yeah, Phantom Menace.
This is why I wrote mine down.
7.
This is why I wrote mine down.
Yeah. Next one would be Revenge of the Sith. And then it would be
Last Jedi. No, Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, then Solo, then Last Jedi, then Attack of the Clones.
So close to the same order. We flip flop Phantom Menace and we flip flopped like 5 through 8, pretty much, or a different order.
Yeah, you like Revenge of the Sith a whole lot more than I do. I like the fight scenes. The story is another mess entirely. Solo was crap.
Revenge of the Sith is just a pivotal movie in terms of the whole entire universe of Star Wars.
Yeah. Until at the end when Darth Vader's
So
I'm just like, really?
Crap, I was gonna say something but I forgot. I'm not gonna be able to think of it.
That you forgot how good Phantom Menace
No, Phantom
is.
Menace is a good movie. But if you take out Jar Jar and a lot of the scenes with Anakin,
you can leave the Gungans, just take out Jar Jar.
Pod racing was awesome. One thing I was going to say, they used Duel of Fates in the trailers. Duel of Fates was not in the movie.
Yep, pulled a Marvel on you.
They've debated us, man. Like, unbelievable. So yeah, guys, we enjoyed the movie. I might see it one more time in theaters because I think one of my buddies wants to go see it. So I might go see it again. I'm not sure if that's gonna. It won't affect my rating, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be pickier and notice more things, and it'll be a good thing or a bad thing. If you saw us on Twitter, we were going in. I don't want to say with
zero expectations.
I wasn't gonna say
I was going at 0.
And 0 expectations for me doesn't mean low.
I was going in expecting Attack of the Clones.
Okay, so you had low expectations. So you didn't have 0, you had low. Like you had negative expectations. I was going in with they're screwed no matter what they do. So they might try and fix stuff.
What happened to the little kid that
moved the broom?
What happened to the little kid that can move the broom? Yeah.
Who knows, dude? He's on his own. Fuck them kids. Michael Jordan. So yeah, I don't know. Enjoyed the movie overall. Excited. I'm as much as I love Force Awakens. Well, I don't want to say love Force Awakens. I enjoyed Force Awakens. It was a safe intro. It was a safe, cautious introduction into the new sequel. I'm glad the sequel trilogy is over. They did what they could. I think they wrapped up the sequel trilogy in an orderly fashion as best they could. I don't consider this an ending to the Skywalker saga. I consider that ending with Return of the Jedi, as far as the story goes.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll.
I mean, technically it is the end because they're not making anymore. But you think it ends whenever.
Like I said at the beginning, if you look at them separately, it makes the movies from the sequels a lot more enjoyable as their own story.
Look them at different movies individually.
So it'll be interesting to see when the book comes out what they change and what they add in. I'm thinking we might get some more of the character the character conflict between the 3 main characters that might get hashed out some more. Might get some more backstory on some of the new characters introduced.
So is Poe and Finn gonna be lovers in the book?
No. Because they set up their relationship with Poe and the chick from Kijimi, and then they were probably setting up the relationship between Finn and the horse girl you meet. So, because they connected like instantly because they had the same exact story. Because they needed to give her a backstory. They needed to give her a backstory real quick to give her introduce who she was. To me, that was lazy, but again, they had to do so much in this movie. So yeah, guys, we hope y'all enjoyed the movie. If you have, you've seen it if you listen this far, or if you're watching a review.
I hope you've seen it.
If not, you were just watching this because you didn't want to go see the movie and you just wanted to hear parts of it, the interesting parts. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I'm interested to see where Star Wars is going to go from here. I did notice after I watched the movie, I didn't really feel anything. I didn't feel after I saw Last Jedi. I don't want to say I was mad, but I was mad. After this, after
angry.
Rise of Skywalker, I just went home and watched The Witcher.
I laughed, and then I went home and moved furniture. Then I started watching The Witcher that night, which The Witcher is great. Go watch that instead.
It's absolutely amazing. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for The Witcher. I'm thinking we might just do a season recap.
I think we have to. I mean, if it released all at once and it's 8 episodes and they're an hour long, people are gonna binge it over like 2 or 3 days. So I'm thinking we'll probably I'd say probably by this weekend we'll have a season recap of like our thoughts of the season. Maybe get like a synopsis of each episode and go like episode by episode and just one.
I'm thinking,
one long
because we can knock it out. Give short synopsis, like short explanations of each episode, kind of recaps, and then really focus on the main plot points.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of extra stuff in it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of side quests in it. So
but amazing series. If you haven't watched it, definitely go watch that. So that'll be coming out next week. We just posted our top 5 Star Wars games episode. This will probably be posting, I'd say either Monday the 23rd or Tuesday the 24th, Christmas Eve.
Probably like tomorrow, I'd say.
So this will be up then.
Probably post it tomorrow, and then we need to do. We'll have The Witcher, and then we also need to do our top games of the year and the top games we played.
So be on the lookout for those. Please be sure to follow whatever platform you're listening on. Let us know what you thought of Rise of Skywalker down below, where you want to see. Oh, we also have Mandalorian finale this week, so we'll be doing an episode on that too. Which we've been loving The Mandalorian. That's the best thing to happen to Star Wars in a while. So be on the lookout for that. Let us know what you thought of Rise of Skywalker, where you want to see Star Wars go next. And we appreciate everyone watching. And until next time, keep gaming. We'll see y'all later. Peace.